I think it's really important that not just women, but men as well are.
Pause. Can y'all hear that loud and clear? Y'all let me know. Brother Brian, are you able to hear that? Just if you can text in the back, let me know that you can hear it. Y'all in the chat, can y'all put a couple of ones in the chat to let me know that y'all can hear the audio? Y'all let me know. Okay, I think Armino said yes. Okay, Black Smurf, yes. Okay, once. Okay, all right, cool. All right, that's what I needed. Here we go.
The things that go on in the school so that they don't feel, that they need to go into the trap of just feeling like because they don't have family or because they don't know who they are, that's the place that they should go to. I want them to know that, it's not a good place. Some people have their own positive experiences with it and feel as though it blessed them or helped them to become a better person. But there's a lot of damage being done in the school to, men and women, and a lot of them are in harsh conditions or going through a lot mentally. And I was one of them, and I want people to be aware of what goes on so that they're not, subject to fall into those type of things.
Were you coerced to be here?
No, absolutely not. As you stated, I reached out to someone just mentioning. I saw that my page didn't say the violence. They reached out and felt that was inspired to tweet out, and they simply shared from your practice on Clubhouse, and I decided to take that opportunity to reach out to you and see that I can come on your platform and express to you my story.
All right, you kind of coming in and out. Hopefully you can fix that. Have I paid you to be here?
No.
Well, let me ask you another question then. How long were you part of ISUPK?
I was part of ISUPK for a little over 5 years.
Okay. And how did you end up in ISUPK? How did that happen?
I met someone that isn't a part of the school anymore, and they had told me that Jesus Christ was a Black man. And
you're coming in and out. You're coming in and out, sister.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I was introduced to the ISUPK by someone that was seeking proof. They had a little bit of information about Jesus Christ, being a Black man, and the reason why I went through is the oppression on our people, and I wanted to know more about it. So both agreed to the different schools. This particular was the one that we came to first, and I ended up staying, and they left.
Thank you, Taboo. I think it's because my mic is open. That's why we're getting this choppiness from you. But okay. All right. So this person that got you involved in ISUPK, like, is that the person you ended up being with, or?
No, he and I were both pressured to no longer speaking. We were told that because we were new in the school, we are not allowed. They have this rule that everyone knows worldwide when you're actually a member, is that new brothers and sisters are off limits for, I believe it's 90 days, which is 3 months. The only thing they can, really say is basically shalom to each other. No one's allowed to personally talk. So he was actually told that he can't talk to me, and I was told I couldn't talk to him.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you and a young brother, were introduced to the movement. They started telling you about Black Jesus and the Black God and all that good stuff, telling you about your identity. And now I'm assuming, you let me know. So you and the brother, did you have any romantic interest in him?
Yes, at that moment, I wanted to marry him. I told him that I wanted to, become new and start getting my life together more. So to just give me some time. But I did tell him that I wanted to marry him. Vice versa.
Okay. So you told him that you wanted to marry him, but when you got at the camp, according to their rules, is that you are not supposed to talk to each other for a period of 90 days. Am I
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
So you were not able to be with him.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, what happened?
Uh,
But before we go to what happened, did they give you any reasons why that you guys were not able to talk to each other?
Because it was their rules. That was more so just the reason. I'm not sure why they directly have those rules in place. Maybe it's to not encourage anybody to marry sisters off without their permission, because they rather marry you off to a specific person. I know that they benefit from dowries in the school. So maybe they wanted money for whoever I did marry. And, I'm not 100% sure. I can only guess as to why.
Okay. We'll talk about this dowry situation. Okay, so now you and the brother. Why did you not end up getting with this brother after the 90 days? Because that sounds like a pretty fair rule. It's like, hey, listen, you guys are new into this thing. You should not be focusing on, relationship and sex. Let's focus on the word. Let's focus on developing our relationship with the Most High. And then when you guys get it together, then you can be together. I don't see anything wrong with that. So why did you guys, after the 90 days, come together?
Overall, he ended up leaving the congregation and going somewhere else. But I do know that he had made it clear to me he was still reaching out. And he mentioned that, he understood if I ended up moving on to someone else, but it was understood within the school that you cannot marry someone without permission. And I don't think that he believed he would be given that permission to marry me. It's all about getting permission, because after your 90 days, that just allows you to speak to people. It takes another 3 months, which will be a 6 months total of before they even allow you to court anyone, which is, date. And they still have to give permission to do that.
Awesome. And by the way, I want you to get this from me. That sounds pretty fair. That sounds good. Yeah. That sounds like a group of people that I know that's not what they're trying to do, but I'm here to let you know what's going on. That sounds cool. Sounds cool. All right, now who did you end up being with then? Did you end up marrying someone? What happened? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I ended up getting with someone in the school by the name of Laban. They call him Laban UPK. That was his name. And yeah, the school actually kind of like hooked us up together, and we ended up, getting together and end up having 2 children. And, like I said, we have been together for about 5 years, a little longer. I mean, a little less longer than I was in the school. So yes.
Okay, so what do you mean by you guys got hooked up? Because you already told us that there's a period of time that you're supposed to spend in the school before you're able to court someone. You say there's a dowry that must be paid. We're going to talk about that. But you also say that you got hooked up. What does that mean? You got hooked
Meaning,
up?
like I said, there's a process before you can actually, date someone. You have to get permission. So he wasn't necessarily the first decision that I was trying to make. I actually had my eyes on someone else at that moment. And, but he was the only one that I got permission to talk to. Like, he went through different councils and then brought it back to my attention. I told the counselor that he did, I told General Muhammad, I should say, that this person wanted to court me. And he actually said that, okay, you two can court, but I wasn't allowed to court anybody that I even thought about courting other than this man. They had their own reasons as to why, which was because in the short period of time that he was there, they felt like he had been doing a lot of the work of the Lord, and they felt that my passion for the truth and all that was pretty mature, and they thought we would be good together. So that's what I mean by it.
Okay, so basically, the leaders in ISUPK are the ones that do the matching.
Absolutely.
Well, when you say absolutely, is that what happens for everyone that's part of ISUPK, or was it your particular case?
I would say majority of people have to get permission, but I do know that all the marriages don't work like that. Some people have gone behind the backup counsel and got married to each other. And there also have been marriages that might have happened outside the school, where someone in the school might marry someone, outside of the school without permission. But for majority of the cases, when you are a member in the school, you get passed over to someone versus just doing it on your own.
What do you mean by you get passed over? What do you mean by that? You get passed over?
There is a process of them blessing your marriage. For me, I thought it was pretty strange of how it went. But
So Sherry, you pause right there.
Yes, sir. Pause.
Do you know what I find interesting? Almost all the cults that I've ever seen, even when I watched the one on Netflix about the David Koresh, that was one of the things. The leader picked out who got married, and most of the time that leader ended up messing around with that man's wife or messing with his girlfriend or whatever. That happens multiple times in multiple cults. I see that all the time, especially when you have like a leader like that.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because right here, I'm going here to the first, I believe it's First Timothy chapter 4, verse 1, 1 through 4, actually 1 through 5. Now look at the screen, family. Take a look at the Bible. It says, "Now the Spirit speaks expressively that in latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving." Verse 5, "For it is sanctified by the word of God in prayer." So, a family, already the Bible is letting you know right here in verse 3, 1, 2, and 3, the traits, not just only the apostasy for a person that was in the faith, but then end up turning to something else, but even what cults actually do. These are some of the traits the Bible lets you know already ahead of time what to look out for. These people want to control your marriage. They want to control your relationship. They want to control what you do. They want to control you, even to the point that they have now become your God. That's what it's about. In cults, it's the same pattern: sex, money, control, and power. I'm going to say that again: sex, money, control, and power. All four of these points must be hit by the cult leader. And unfortunately, they are succeeding with these people. Oh, listen, you haven't heard anything yet, but notice something. She spoke about the dowry. And the dowry is paid to the institution of ISUPK. And I'm sure the other cults, IUIC, AOI, HOI, all the ABC 1, 2, 3 camps, the movement itself is operating in this way. Now, that's totally unbiblical, because the Bible doesn't say that, Brother Brian. If anything, and I believe I had it up here, right here, and I just took a list right here, a short list for you guys. In Exodus 22, verse 16, look what it says. "If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to anyone and has sex with her, he must pay the customary bride price and marry her." Who does he pay that to? The father, not the institution, not the synagogue, not the church, none of that. It's paid directly to the father of that person. Right. And there's more right here. But if her father refuses to let him marry her, the man must still pay him an amount equal to the bride price of a virgin. So the reason why I went here, even though this is slightly a different situation, but I brought this scripture up here before you to show you exactly where the dowry goes. It goes directly to the father, to the family. Why is the man that she was dealing with paying ISUPK anything? They're making money off of these people's so-called marriages. And listen, family, these people are still not legally, according to the United States, they're not legally married. No one has gone before a judge, a justice of peace. They have not gone before a preacher. No papers are signed, none of that. They are not, but you just paid all this money to this institution, walking around here believing that you're married and you're really not. Now, again, I'm not victimizing the victim. So please don't take it in that way. She was in a cult, convinced of this cult, and made a terrible mistake. My heart goes completely out to her. Again, they are tricking people left and right. Brother Brian, am I crazy regarding the dowry? Because I'm looking at the scripture here, and
you're 100% right. I mean, these people, well, all the things you listed are what they call narcissistic behaviors of a person, and they are trying to control these people. That's what they're doing. They want to control their marriage. They want to control what they do. I mean, I remember one time that one of the leaders was keeping a man from his wife from having sex. That happens in cults.
Family, it's listen, I'm scared of y'all right now, because what y'all about to hear here, Brother Brian, I'm mad. Listen, when I got through listening to what this interview, this is just the interview. This ain't the full testimony. This is just the interview that Dr. Yosef, he's on Clubhouse, and I believe he's Torah only, and they had some oneness and all of that. It was a collage of folks, but it wasn't so much about doctrine. It was mostly about her. I did join the panel and I spoke directly to her, because, if it was about doctrine, it would have been chaotic. But doctrine does take place in here. It does have something to do with this, because bad doctrine produces bad behavior. I tell y'all that all the time. So I'm not taking that off the table. However, this conversation was wrapped around and what she experienced, what she went through, and what she endured being part of that cult of ISUPK, of the Hebrew Israelite movement. And again here, they literally told her and the gentleman that, hey, you got to basically pay the bride price, went to ISUPK. It never went to her father. It never went to her family, not from what I'm hearing, unless I missed something. Now, I listened to this twice, and I was in the actual room last night hearing her speak live. I came on the tail end of it, but I went back today and I fully listened to the interview from the beginning, and it made me shudder. These people are wicked, bro. They are wicked brothers and sisters. These people have no godly conviction about what they will do. And these are supposed to be their own parishioners, their own brothers and sisters who they claim are superior and make them feel superior, and they dog them like nothing else. They have no godly conviction. And listen, I said it a long time ago, they are godless folk. And don't ask me to apologize for that, because that's the doggone truth. And one thing Cherry Love does not do, I will not apologize for telling the truth. And you better not do it either. Because the truth is the truth. A lie is a lie. This is an ultimate problem here. I just, y'all ain't heard nothing yet. Y'all ain't heard nothing yet. But as you can see, and you can go on Blue Letter Bible, you can Google it, you can look it up for yourself. The stipulations regarding the bride price. That's why I'm bringing these scriptures up here, scrolling through it. I'm not completely reading through it, but you see it on your screen as I'm talking to you. Why did the bride price go to them? And by the way, you live in the United States. According to the United States regulations, you got to go before a justice of peace, a judge, and then you, hey, whoever your religious leader is. But that didn't take place. Yeah, they went out of the hell. Listen, I don't know what this is, but this is totally unbiblical and illegal at the same time. But again, I don't want to bore you with my voice. I want you to hear her voice. Here we go.
No problem. So, me and him, had got together and we were dating we had got permission to date. We were spending personal time with each other, over at my place. And then it turned into something else, which is us being intimate. I didn't, go all the way with him, but that was, what had took place. And he decided to.
Okay, hold on. Not to cut you off. You said you were being intimate, but you didn't go all the way. What does that mean?
Meaning, I had performed oral on him, I should say, but we go into like that, like so they considered that like not fully consummating the marriage in their eyes.
All right. So when was this marriage consummated then?
That same day, he called for. That's what I was leading to. He called for counsel, and he told them that it was an emergency, and he told the person what had happened, which was General Hyman, and General Hyman expressed to him that wasn't an emergency, and do I want to go all the way right now at this moment and all that, but basically I was his. And I mentioned that, since we're already here, I might as well. And then immediately the pressure, like his whole attitude changed, and he's like, well, good, you guys have to pay this dowry. It had to be written in text message to him and to another general that we both agreed that the dowry will be paid. It more so was on him, but I would have to pay it along with him just to make sure that it was paid if he couldn't. So they gave us our blessing after agreeing to pay this dowry, and then we fully went through with it. And then I had an actual ceremony about 6 months later.
So
Pause. So out of her own mouth, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm trying to find the best. Lord, give me the words to say. Out of her own testimony, her and the gentleman did oral sex. They hurry up and let the leadership know about this. They approved them to, quote unquote, be married. But remember what ISUPK believes, that sex is marriage. They sleep together the same day. And 6 months later, they have a ceremony. What is that called, family? I'll tell you. Look at your screen, what I'm about to bring up. The definition of fornication.
Fornication means sexual intercourse between people not married to each other.
Any questions? Any questions? The Bible forbids this. So the sister is already, along with this gentleman, ISUPK endorses sex before marriage, which is what? Fornication, which is forbidden by God, which is, since they're putting themselves under the law, by the way, the law of Moses is forbidden under the law of Moses. It's forbidden under the law of Christ. They're not keeping no law. And they are literally teaching these people to sin against God. Now, again, I feel for the victim, but again, I'm pointing out what was done and what they took part in. But because they are taught falsely, they're not knowing. But the leadership knows. But do you think they give a damn? Absolutely not. Not at all. They just help these two young people walk into what? Into sin. They was already in sin at the oral sex. Now you tell them, well, we give you permission. Ain't no vows been exchanged. Ain't no ring on her finger. Ain't no ring on his finger. Nobody stood before God and said, God, I promise to take care of your daughter until death do us part. Father, I promise to take care of your son until death do us part, in sickness and health, and so on and so on. Y'all know, y'all married folk know the vow ceremony, the vows that are exchanged between a man and a woman. And don't try to use Adam and Eve, because Adam and Eve, the first man and the first woman, God did the first marriage. And it was ordained by who? By God. They just totally, Brother Brian, took God out of marriage. And they playing with these young people's souls, walking them down a pathway to hell, making them feel good while they on this slippery slope on their way to hell. And some of them who don't know the biblical text like that, who hasn't studied, don't even know they on the road to hell. You make it make sense to me. Y'all make it make sense to me.
It don't
Look
make
at
no
your
sense.
screen. What you say, Brother Brian? Say that again, bro.
It don't make no sense. They take a passage because of Jacob and was it Jacob and Isaac and Rebecca, and they use that passage where, because they say sex is marriage because they use that. But the problem is they don't understand that Abraham sent his servant first to meet up with that woman. But
That's
they
right.
already had an idea who he was supposed to marry, because he told him where to go to get his wife.
This bro, this is all done wrong. And listen, get this, Brother Brian, that ain't even the worst part. This ain't even the worst part. I'm so sorry in advance. I'm finna mess y'all over. I'm finna mess y'all up right now. This, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm affected by this all over again. It's disgusting what they doing to these people. But you know what? I believe the God that we serve. If Johanna, Tazariak, and all those people who are orchestrating this don't stop and repent, hell will be their eternal home. And you know what? Rightfully so. Don't you ask me to shed a tear. This is downright unbiblical. And the Torah, and we're going to talk about the law of Moses, even the Torah forbids something like this. Baby, y'all leave me alone. Don't say nothing to me. Here we go.
The dowry was not paid to your parents or to you. You don't know nothing about that money, but that money was given to the institution.
Yes, I do know it was given to the institution as it was being handed to them, because the situation was kind of like put out in the open. His father, my ex's father, came into the school, stormed into the school with an attitude and basically like, who do I need to give this to? He felt obligated because my ex wasn't making any money at the time. He was a college student. He felt obligated to pay his son's money off, so that he didn't feel like his son was an obligation to do anything out of the ordinary to pay these people off. So he paid it off instead.
How old were you when all this was happening? When you started being part of the ISUPK and you got married and all that?
I had just turned 21.
Lord have mercy.
All right. So, okay, so what's the problem then? What's the problem? Like, why are we here? What is it that you want to tell people, especially the sisters, what is it that you think that the sisters need to be aware of? Like me, I don't want to talk because, I can go in on this thing. Because, I believe that, and I'm going to ask you a specific question first. I believe that these institutions are not, spiritual institutions. I say at best they are failed social movements because what they are doing has nothing to do with the Bible. I know some of you might be mad at me. Just like I say openly that what Christianity is doing has nothing to do with the Bible. The reason why I say that is because what we see clearly in the Bible is that the Most High gave us his ways. He gave us his precepts, his commandments. He has never given us, institutions that are man-made. The true church, the true congregation is actually the congregation of the saints, the congregation of the righteous. That's why Jesus says, where two or three are gathered, I am in their midst. So basically right now, whether you want to believe it or not, we are having church. Because I know I'm in the right spirit. We're not here to bash, but we're here to make people aware. So my thing is that you're not going to see this institution in the Bible. So he has given us ways. Now, these institutions, to me, they are hustling people. And I believe that a lot of the brothers are pimping women. And I've said that plenty of time. People got mad at me before and last week. But I wanted to ask you a specific question before I let you go in. Number one, when you hear the word or the term kingdom building, as it pertains to ISUPK, what comes to your mind when you hear the term kingdom building?
You mean like, I'm trying to get more of an understanding of what you mean. Okay, so kingdom building when it comes to the ISUPK.
Yes. What does that mean? Like when this word is thrown out there, what does it mean as it pertains to women?
A positive outlook or the negative?
No, I mean whatever. What does it mean? What does it mean? Like when they say kingdom building, what comes to mind? Because me, I have something in mind. When they say kingdom building, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I have something in mind. So I just wanted to know if we have the same, because I teach about these guys all the time, their wicked ways. So since you are part of them, I would rather hear it from you than put words in your mouth. Whether you want to say positive or negative, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I don't mind speaking on the positive for one. Well, when I think of kingdom building, I think of, personally, the man running the household, as far as like, watching out, protecting the family, helping to take care of his family in different ways. The woman, taking care of the children and, tending to household duties and, helping out in different maybe financial ways, having different virtual skills and, children being brought up, in the same type of mindset and everybody kind of like growing together that way. I mean, that's some of the stuff.
This is perfect because that's exactly what it is. And I've talked about it. So this is a terminology that they use. And you tell me if I'm wrong. And please correct me because I'm not part of ISUPK. And I always tell them, if I say something that is wrong, hey, tell me, brother, hey, it's not wrong. This is not right. And you said exactly what I had in mind. Kingdom building is a term that is used by these brothers, to let us know that, the man needs to take control of his family and let's build family. But this is what I say. When they say kingdom building, there is no, and you tell me if I'm wrong, there is no kingdom building without controlling and ruling the black woman. Am I right or wrong, man?
You're absolutely.
All right. So that's number one. Before I let you go in again, I want to ask you something else. I often say that these brothers are pimping. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't want to elaborate. I wanted to know if you share this sentiment with me.
I can absolutely, honestly say that I experienced that.
Okay, please, can you break it down? The floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay, so starting kind of like around when it comes to like the responsibilities in marriage, like all the weight I felt like was majority on me. I had to find different resources. When I say had to, I really don't feel like I had any other choice. And also, it was encouraged numerous times to find, all these different programs through the government that they hate so much. I need to, get on Section 8. I need to get food stamps. I need to get cash assistance and WIC and go to all these different programs to be able to provide, all these different types of grants of money, which it didn't really bother me at that moment. I felt like I was helping my family, which is exactly what I did. But it was, plenty of times where I asked for help and I felt like I had to beg for it. I would ask numerous times. I would, speak out on the importance of how I couldn't just carry the weight all by myself. I had other things going on with me as well, and I can't just feel like I'm not being supported in this marriage. And it was really more so always about, oh well, this resource, that resource, like basically just keep using whatever resources that might be available, no matter how much they might be running out, or really putting in your responsibility on him to help out with anything.
Well, what was your husband's responsibility?
Are you asking me like in our
Yeah,
marriage?
I mean, in your marriage, because you say you felt like the whole weight was on you. What was his responsibility? I mean, were you guys doing this, together? Like, why you felt like you had to do it? Is it something that you were told? Is that what is taught? Like, what is your man doing in the meantime? You're doing all this. Is he working? What is his part?
I do know that he was a college student. He was in maybe going into his second year of college. When we had got married, he made it clear to me that he would be going back for one more year. And we both were in agreement to, that is what it is. Like, I understand why you have to do it. And so we parted ways, but it was still, being said that he would help out and he would come and see me. And like I stated, like I had to do majority of the stuff by myself. I delivered our oldest child, by myself, without him being there, because he felt like other things he had to take care of. And like I said, there were so many different programs I had to be involved with just to keep the house up and without getting that help. I was high risk pregnancy both of the times because I had some health concerns. And like I still was obligated to take care of everything when it came to the finances in the house.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Partnership.
So let me ask you this real quick. So you're 21 years old, and how old is your husband at that time?
He was 20, going on 21.
Okay, so your husband is 20, you're 21. You guys don't have an education. You guys don't have a career, right? And because you guys ended up kind of messing with each other because they did that sex in marriage, now they tell you that you guys are married, and then you have to pay a dowry, and now you find yourself married with a man. And at this point, I guess you guys are not living together?
He was on and off. One minute he lived with me, next minute he didn't. It was all based upon if college had breaks, if he got offered some, there was a time, like especially during COVID, he had like a year off because the college closed down. So he was able to stay with me. Then there was a time where he decided he no longer wanted to rent his place out in New York, so he came to live with me. I mean, it was consistently like a on and off thing for the 5 years we were together.
Were the school aware of that? Because obviously they knew that you guys didn't have no education, no financially you guys were not independent. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have your own homes. It's a whole lot of stuff that were not like the things that you need in order for you to get married. A lot of these things were not there because we live in a culture where people can wake up and say, "Oh, something, I'm gonna marry somebody." But biblically speaking, there are steps to a marriage. You know what I'm saying? You should get married with purpose. You know what? You should date with purpose. Like if you're gonna have kids, and I'm talking about for people that are Torah believers. If you want to have kids, you have to prepare yourself. You don't just go and have kids just like that because people of the Lord don't move like that. But what type of premarital counseling did you get to prepare you for this marriage? Because if you have to pay a dowry and they tell you that you got to get married because you guys slept with each other, now what type of premarital premarital counseling? What type of support did you receive from the school?
The school had made it clear in their own preference that if there was something that I needed, contact my camp leader. But of course, I would have to contact my husband at that time, and he would have to contact a camp leader. And I was under the impression, like as of more so recently, within like the last year, that he had gotten money from the school, but I had never personally, I never knew that he had directly asked for help in certain ways. I thought that he was getting help directly from him, getting grants and stuff from school, and then the times in between when he did work. So I wasn't, necessarily completely knowledgeable to the fact that he was getting help from the school and that he had to pay that money back. So I didn't know that he had to do that when he did help out with things. But more so, how the school, I feel like they thought they were preparing me was by giving me different counselors, whoever they felt like was the most predominant counselor in the school, because supposedly I was like a hard sister to work with and to talk with. I had been abused in foster care, and I had mental health stuff that they said that was a problem, and I needed all these different types of attention or counsel in their opinion. And so the counselor I was given at the time had set up for me to go to different like doctors and therapists and get set up with different services. And with some, they would even sometimes personally take me out to the park to work out. But honestly, other than just kind of like listening to the classes and being in the classes every day, that's more so like what I did learn or get prepared for, I feel like, in my opinion. But I didn't know all the like financial stuff was going to happen, and that we were going to have like such a hard time in our marriage the way we did.
All right. So before I keep
So
going,
sure.
Pause. Go ahead, bro.
So they tell them they have to get on food stamps and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
And
All
that,
women
wow.
instructed to get on Section 8. All the women are instructed to get on WIC, get on food stamps, get on TANF, and every governmental, even SSI.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Wow.
Doing that, all of the camps predominantly are instructing the women. Hear me well, y'all. Instructing the women to get on these type of governmental resources. And a lot of that, guess where the money goes back to? Straight to the what? To the school.
Yep, the camps.
The camps. Yeah.
I figured that's what they did. I figured
Yeah.
they do that because I know they charge them dues and they charge them all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Judah Mack, a couple of years ago, when he exposed IUIC, same thing. ICGJC, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it wouldn't surprise me with GMS, HOI, AOI, any other, they instruct the women to get on all government resources. Mind you, these are the same people that say this is the devil, that the government is the devil, but they instruct these women to what? Get on every governmental resource that they can get on. And guess what? That money is shuffled along to what? To the camps. I think that right there explains itself. Total hypocrisy. And the sister didn't want to get on that stuff. She's able-bodied and all of that. She probably needed a little help, but and notice what she said. What did they go to any type of premarital counsel? Because I know me and my husband did before we got married. We were what? Counseled by our pastor, right? And we went to premarital classes to find out more about marriage, had biblical studies about marriage. We even counseled with our parents. They're the prime examples. My parents been together, oh my God, I can't even remember, about 20, 40 years, something like that. My husband's parents, they were together for about 20 something odd years. right? They're the prime example, but they tell them, no, 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 don't don't go to them. You go to your camp leader. And this man don't know nothing about no marriage. He's a heretic himself. I mean, it just, bro, listen, bro, and it don't, listen, bro, hear me well, Brother Brian, it gets worse. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what she told us last night. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So get your ibuprofen, get your tissue, listen, I would even tell you, listen, get you a glass of wine. You might need it to calm your nerve. Get you a glass of juice, whatever calm your nerve, because you're going to need it tonight after you hear this. And mind you, this ain't even her full test. This is not even her testimony. This is just the interview. When she gives her testimony on the next session,